Well, hello, everyone. This is Peggy Hernandez from the U46 School District Observatory Planetarium with highlights of the night sky for the first half of May 2021, a focus on the planets. I have a setup right here for May 2nd, and I want to show you what's going on near the sun. Like the sun is about to set. It is roughly 10 after 5, and I can, with this program, I can turn off the sunlight. I can act like it's just a light bulb. And if I turn off the sunlight, of course, the stars are there in the background. They're way, way, way out there. But Venus and Mercury are both close to the sun. That is no surprise. Venus and Mercury go around the sun very close to the sun. They're the two innermost planets. It turns out that right now, from our point of view, Venus looks like it's a little bit closer. Mercury is the one that's actually going to be a little bit visible this month, earlier and mid-May. It's never easy to spot. It's bright, but it's also very close to the sun. And because it's very close to the sun, typically when it's in a good viewing position, the sun is up. But if we fast forward to nighttime, so let's go ahead and go down to sunset. Like, let's say we get to, well, close to sunset, which happens to be right behind this tree. And if I pause here for just a second and turn off the sunlight again, now, if it were actually dark out, Mercury and Venus would be right next to that tree. The sun is kind of hidden behind the tree. But let's get a little closer to sunset, like when it actually might be almost getting dark out. Almost there, almost there. Oh, Venus is definitely not going to be visible by the time it actually gets dark out. We're getting there. I can tell the sky is changing. Not quite fully dark out yet. Almost there. If I pause again and turn off the sunlight, if we could turn off the sunlight, Mercury is right there behind that tree. Now, bad luck has a tree right in front of where Mercury's setting. But if you have a clear view of the horizon, it's still above the horizon, an amount enough that you'd be able to see if it was actually dark. We'd have to wait even a little bit later to be able to start to see stars and planets in our evening sky. It's 8 o'clock right now. We start any moment. Now, there we go. There's the brightest star. Sirius is just visible 10 after 8. So if I pause here at 10 after 8, if I could turn off all the lights, Mercury is right behind that tree. At 10 after 8 to maybe 8:30, Mercury is actually visible for us this month. It's the best month of the year for evening observing of Mercury. Venus, not good at all this month. Mars, totally good this month. By the time it gets dark out, we can actually see Mars in our evening sky. Now, it's up in the west, about halfway up. What I mean is you can continue to look up higher in the sky. If you were to turn your head up higher, there's the top of the sky right there. So it's about halfway between the top of the sky and the horizon. And that definitely is Mars. We landed Perseverance on there 2 months ago. The Chinese sent out a spacecraft that made it to Mars in February also. It's been orbiting somewhere in mid-month. It's supposed to actually land on Mars. But Mars is actually moving away from us, or I should say we're moving away from Mars. We go in our orbit faster than Mars. And almost a year ago, we were at opposition. And every day since then, we've been pulling away. So every day, Mars is getting a little dimmer in the sky. Notice it's dimmer than Capella and Betelgeuse and Procyon and Castor and Pollux. It's reddish, but it's not super bright this month. Now, the cool ones to look for this month, if you ask me, are the early morning planets. And to do that, I'm going to fast forward time. And I'm going to zip really fast. We're going to get to about 3, 4 in the morning. Here's 4 o'clock in the morning. And, oops, we need to be not facing west, but facing east. We have the moon next to Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn comes up about 2:30. By 3 o'clock, you can see it. Jupiter, just a little bit after, maybe by 4 o'clock, Jupiter's up. Right now, the time is 4:30, super noticeable, early morning. On May 3rd, we have a beautiful last quarter moon. So we had a full moon at the end of April. So for about 2 weeks, it's going to be getting smaller. That's when we see it in the early morning. This moon didn't come up until about 2 in the morning. It doesn't set until 2 in the afternoon. So 2 a.m. to 2 p.m., means that it's visible in the morning sky. Early morning is great. It's right beneath Saturn on May 3rd. Here it is on May 4th. Ready? Watch the moon. May 4th, it's kind of between the two. And on May 5th, it's just on the other side of Jupiter. When we get to May 11th, the moon and the sun are going to be aligned from our view. That's a new moon. After May 11th, we'll be able to watch the moon getting bigger, bigger, bigger in our evening sky instead of in the morning sky. So we've got some neat things happening with Jupiter this month, though. I'm going to go to a different animation here to show you what's happening. So if I have a telescope and I'm on Earth and I aim it at Jupiter, well, first of all, right here, that's the constellation Capricorn. Yep, that's Capricorn. Jupiter is in Capricorn. Now, it's not really even close to any of these stars that make up Capricorn, but it's lying in front of those. You could say it's eclipsing part of Capricorn in this image. But it has 4 really big moons, Ganymede, Io, Europa, and Callisto is a little bit farther out. I'll get to that in a second. Ganymede had 2 eclipses on April 19th. What I mean is the shadow of both Io and Callisto that's kind of behind us and to the left, the shadow went right in front, right across Ganymede. This happens about once every 5 years when this orbital plane of Jupiter's moons lines up just right with the Earth's position in its orbit around the sun, and we're able to see these happening. And here's a video of it. So this telescope was aimed just at Jupiter, and all you can see is Ganymede right there. So both Io and Callisto are up off our left shoulder, but you can see it turns a little dark. If you really have good eyes, the moment it starts, right now, the very top part has a little bit of an eclipse. That was Io. And then the one that goes right across the center of it, that's the shadow of Callisto. And this is the exact lineup that caused that to happen. I'll back out a little bit and you'll be able to see. Right there is Callisto. So if you can kind of imagine this, it gets really sensitive when I'm this zoomed in. But this shadow of Callisto, from where the sun is behind us and off to the left, made a shadow land on Ganymede. So that's an eclipse when you see the shadow like this. When you have an actual disk of another object in front of an object out in space, we call that an occultation. We've got those happening too, but this video is of an eclipse. So definitely cool planet stuff this month. But let's go to the stars. I'm going to start with a clean slate here. May 5th is a good day to use, but let's go to evening. Let's say we're going to go to sunset-ish time. On May 5th, let's head to the west. Oh, I turned off. So it's actually still daytime out because there's the sun. So on May 5th, the sun's about to set. We are in between a last quarter and a new moon. So that means that the moon is just below the horizon, already gone by the time the sun is setting. And we're going to fast forward a little bit and let the sun go down. I'm going to go to about 7:45 and then slow it up just a little bit. Here we go. I'm going to distort this a little bit just so we can see more. I could even just do this. So by 10 after 8, we can see Sirius. That's the brightest star in the sky, but oh my goodness, it's gone by 9 o'clock. That's a star we see all winter long, and as we move in our orbit, we are moving out of the stars we see in the winter commonly, and we're heading into what we call the summer constellations, the spring and summer stars. But in the west, there's Orion's belt, and by 8:45, it's pretty much hitting the trees. We see lots of satellites. That's perfectly normal. So what do we have up in the evening at 9 o'clock on May 5th? We've got Capella, which is part of a pentagon. Capella is a mama goat, and Auriga, the charioteer, is hanging on to those. Capella is a pretty bright star. Castor and Pollux, the Gemini twins, those are pretty bright. Mars is right in the foot of one of the twins, like they're just playing soccer with it or something. Procyon is part of the little dog. Sirius is part of the big dog. If I connect all the dots, if you use your imagination to do a dot to dot, they might look like that. And that's the ancient Greek constellation lines. And then here we have the drawings. We have Cancer the Crab right here next to Gemini. And the funny one, Taurus the Bull is just setting right here. So we have Taurus and then Gemini and then Cancer. And I just see the bottom of Leo's feet. But keep note that Cancer the Crab is not very easy to spot. As a matter of fact, for most of us in suburban backyards, those stars are so dim, you would say, are there even any stars there? I don't think I see any. So Cancer is not easy to spot in our sky for sure. If we were to look up a little bit higher, and I'm going to shift a little bit to the south, early in the evening, so we're at 9 o'clock, well, early in the dark sky, I should say. Leo the Lion is up. And yes, there's a lot of bright stars low in the west at this time of year. It's just a lot of bright stars in that direction. And Leo the Lion is right here, that backwards question mark right there. Spica is in the constellation Virgo. It's a bright bluish white star. If I look a little bit more towards the south, we'll also spot Arcturus. That's a bright star. It's kind of orangish red, and Arcturus is in Boötes, but it really looks like it's part of an ice cream cone. So here's Leo the Lion. Here's the drawings. I like to put those in. There's Leo. We're looking due south. Look for the backwards question mark. The dot is the brightest one. Over to the left of that is Spica. Arcturus is so bright red, you might say, whoa, that must be Mars. Nope. Mars is over here in the west. It is not very bright this time of year in May of 2021. And if we go a little bit more to see Arcturus, there we go. There's the ice cream cone. To me, this looks like a scoop of ice cream on top of a big waffle cone. But the ancient Greeks thought it looked like a shepherd. Now, Arcturus is bright orange. It might, you think, whoa, is that Betelgeuse? Is that Mars? Why is it so orange? There's an easy way to find your way around to Arcturus, and I have to keep spinning your body to the left. Now we're going to look a little bit north. Here we have the Big Dipper in the northeast. It's kind of standing up on its handle this time of year. If you follow the arc of the handle, it arcs to Arcturus. So that's how you can check. Oh, yeah. If the handle points to it, that is Arcturus. Right next to Arcturus and the ice cream cone is this neat little one called Corona Borealis. It's the crown of the north. It's right next to Hercules, right here. And just rising in the northeast is Vega, the brightest summer star. So if we look at our eastern sky here, we can arc to Arcturus. This is the handle of the Big Dipper. Arc to Arcturus and spike onto Spica. And we've got Corvus the Crow hanging out right there. And Vega, super bright bluish white star. Arcturus is a super bright kind of reddish orange star. They're very similar in brightness. Vega's a tiny bit brighter. If I add in the lines, you can also see way off to the left towards the north, the sideways W of Cassiopeia the Queen, and the Little Dipper. Yeah, the one you'll see is the Big Dipper. Don't get excited when you see the Big Dipper and scream Little Dipper, because you'll be wrong. That is the Big Dipper for sure. That's the one you'll see. But use the last two in the saucepan as your pointers. Follow, 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 follow. It'll guide you to the North Star, and there is Little Dipper. A very faint constellation snaking between them is Draco, the dragon. Right there is Draco. And it's kind of its head is in between Vega and the Little Dipper. All of these are up in the sky tonight in May, facing north-northeast. And if we go all the way north, we're kind of back where we started. There's that Capella again, only now it's off to our left because we've spun almost all the way around. And if we let time go on, kind of quickly, we'll see satellites for a little while. We'll notice that everything's circling around the North Star. That's what happens. Every 24 hours, it goes all the way around. And if we just face east, we should start seeing our planets and the moon come up. That was probably the International Space Station zipping by. There's Saturn and Jupiter. By 4 o'clock in the morning, the horizon starts to look pink. And then here we are back where we started. May 6th, 5:30 in the morning, Saturn up there, then Jupiter, then the moon, and then here comes the sun. So go out and enjoy these nice low humidity, low bug nights in May. Go out after 8:30, 9 o'clock for your best viewing. and happy sky watching.